In high school, senior year is a very exciting time of the year, but it can also be very stressful. On top of their usual commitments and activities, they have more work because of their AP classes, and they have to start applying to colleges. There are many ways people cope with their stress, but even with trying different habits, there is still a lot of pressure on seniors' backs. Let's begin interviewing some seniors and get their own perspective on senior year stress. There are many things that stressed out seniors this year. This is what they had to say.
The most stressful thing was getting all my college applications done and submitted. The essay definitely was the most stressful because that's a really important part, and then once it was submitted, it was the biggest relief and so much less stress.
One of the main things would probably be college. I have to apply, so far I think I'm going to be applying to 15 colleges, so having all those applications on top of just the regular amount of schoolwork is pretty stressful.
College applications definitely have stressed me out a lot. I think that this year I kind of chose to pursue a harder workload with classes, so that's definitely been stressful, and I think the big thing is just balancing it all, which has just overall been really stressful.
Now let's listen to how they deal with the stress they face.
I like to listen to music a lot. I like to go on drives in my car and just kind of like go to the beach or something like that. Hanging out with friends is always a really good way to kind of just get away from everything. And I'd say like going on a run or playing tennis.
I have been focusing on my time management skills and trying to not procrastinate too much and get things done ahead of time.
I usually just listen to music and give myself some time to not have to worry about any of the college things or schoolwork.
Sometimes AP classes can feel very overwhelming. Here were some opinions from seniors.
I don't really think that they're too overwhelming. I think at times, sometimes it's weird because they'll all like kind of line up. Like I'll get a bunch of assignments in multiple different classes at once after like a lull period, and then it's just really stressful because I have to get them all done. But I think overall the workload is manageable, especially if you manage your time right, which I don't, so.
I think with the amount I'm taking, it's a little overwhelming, but if you're not taking like 4, then it probably shouldn't be that hard.
The idea of college can make seniors nervous. These are some thoughts from seniors about being away from home, being independent, and college in general.
Me personally, I'm really excited for college and for a change of scenery and everything, and I'm really excited for the next chapter.
I'm not really nervous to go to college. I've been kind of thinking about it for the past few years now, so I'm kind of excited.
Not really being independent, but the whole process of getting in I find more stressful.
I think I'm pretty excited for college. I plan to go to one that's big and kind of far away, so I'm kind of looking for like a new start.
Applying for colleges can be stressful. This is what the process that some of these seniors went through.
It's long and stressful, but I feel like once you start applying to a few colleges, as time goes on, it gets easier.
In full honesty, it is very stressful. Once you have a list of schools that you want to apply to, it becomes a lot easier, and once you complete the main part of the Common App, like the questions, the essay, then it's much easier because you just basically send it to every school.
So you have to go through the Common App and put down a lot of basic information, and then a lot of colleges have supplemental essays that you also have to do. So depending on the school, you can have a lot of work for it.
There are some changes between junior and senior year. This is what some seniors had to say about the change between junior and senior year, and if they were prepared for what senior year is like.
The biggest change is the stress level. Growing up through high school, I always had heard that junior year was the most stressful, but me personally, senior year was much more stressful.
I feel like I was prepared for senior year, but the main change was college applications. It was kind of like having an extra class or two.
I'd say that the main difference would be college applications, and it's definitely time consuming, and you have to plan out parts in your schedule to dedicate to that. I'd say I was kind of prepared in junior year. I definitely did research on which colleges I'd want to apply to then.
I think the main change is college applications, obviously, and I think that in junior year you kind of start taking more APs too, so getting used to that in junior year. So by senior year, kind of used to the AP course load, and then you just kind of have to add on your college application. So I think that in junior year you should start your college application process earlier so you're better prepared.
Mr. Burke, a guidance counselor here at Monomoy, gave his insight on why students, specifically seniors, see him.
They come to see us for a variety of reasons. I mean, at the beginning of the year, it's kind of thinking about what's coming up when it comes to the college application process, or if it's not college, what they might be thinking of after high school. So we definitely get them ready to tackle whether or not it's the applications. And in addition to that, they're often balancing a course load as well. So a lot of times kids are still taking a pretty challenging or an extremely challenging schedule of courses. So they're trying to balance their time, they're trying to come up with options for after high school, and then they're actually coming up with ways to meet the expectations of applications and everything else that comes along with applying.
What stresses are these seniors feeling?
I mean, I think one of the biggest stresses is the fact that they're having to face a little bit of the unknown. I mean, you know, you're in high school, you go from one grade to the next for 12 years, and you kind of know what's basically coming up. You know, you go from a different school every now and then, elementary, middle, high school, and that's a little bit of a change, but you still know it's the next grade. So a lot of times I think that seniors are not even consciously dealing with the fact that there is such an unknown coming ahead of them for life after high school, where it's kind of like a feeling, they're stressed, they're not really exactly sure why, and they may have identified it as, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, or where I want to go, or what I want to major in, or what is going to be, you know, my next step. In having that kind of be a lot more open-ended than life's ever been for them, I think is a big, understandable stressor to have to face.
I think many seniors are being overworked. They have a lot of AP classes, they have internships, and a lot of other responsibilities. So I think many of them are overworked. I think there are some, however, who have decided that senior year is a coast year. I teach personal finance, so I see both ends of that spectrum, where some kids are not doing quite what they need to get done. I think in order to relieve some stress, though, I think they need to learn how to pace themselves a little better. And that's something that comes with sort of time, age, experience.
Ms. Creedon explains the advice she gives to seniors to help them cope with their stress.
Managing time is one thing that can help cope with stress. If you set a time to work and then set a time for play. I always tell kids that, you know, it's okay to work really, really hard, but you also need to take some time to step back and do the things you enjoy. If you're not doing things you enjoy, I mean, that's what life is about as well. You need to enjoy your time here on this planet.
Mr. Burke explains how he helps them with their stress.
As a guidance counselor, I like to have them set shorter term goals instead of like, all right, you need to figure out your entire life next year. I try to, you know, have them think about, what is it that I need to do for shorter term goals? Whether it's the applications, let's set up some dates. You're going to be, what are the tasks that you need to do right now? Whether or not it's wrapping up a letter of recommendation, whether or not it's taking a look at a certain program or a school, and then having them get back to us with that information to kind of keep it a little bit more manageable than, all right, figure out the rest of your life. I mean, that's how we try to help them as much, and then we try to, you know, allow them to really focus on what's going on right now too. I mean, in addition to figuring out the future, it's figuring out their coursework, making sure you're keeping your grades up, making sure you're kind of taking care of your current responsibilities. So kind of having them focus on that as well, instead of trying to figure out everything.
Lastly, I got the opinion of Scott Long, a parent of a senior, about if students are doing too much and being overworked.
From my view, they seem to be doing a lot more work than I ever did in high school. But my daughter is also a lot more motivated and has higher goals than I had in high school. So actually, it may not be too much work, but just the right amount.